everybody. Welcome to the Jerusalem Connection Red Alert Report. I am your host, Amy Zawi. Today we have joining us longtime friend Mark Pritchett with the American Christian Trust. Mark currently resides in Washington, D.C., so I am privileged to have the opportunity to see him often and engage in a variety of activities that are happening around the nation's capital that are aligned in our shared mission to support Israel and the Jewish people and advocate on their behalf. Mark, welcome to the program. I really want you to take some time today to share the American Christian Trust's latest project, which is a project that's happening the summer of this year, 2026. Give us a little bit of background about yourself, if you would, and then let us know what was this need or void that you identified that led you to develop this program, and then we can talk about the details of the program.
Sure. Well, thanks, Amy. This is great. Basically, a little bit about me. This ministry actually began back in the 1970s, started from a women's home Bible study in Southern California that grew very, very large to over 120 women from all over Southern California back in the 1970s, led by a woman named Bobby Romas, who was one of the founders of the ministry, the American Christian Trust. And really my story goes all the way back to the beginning of that because my mother was a member of this Bible study. And it was really a season of women and their families growing more in the Lord, really digging deep into the Word, and really Bobby Romas had this really unique ability to draw people into the depths of an understanding of the Jewish roots of our faith, and she was one of really kind of a generation ago of pioneers who were teaching a lot about this topic and why it was so important for us to understand where we came from. And so I had the privilege of going to Israel for the first time when I was only 11 years old, in 1979. And it was, at the time it wasn't, I didn't connect the dots of how significant it was. I was only 11 years old. But if I look back now, I know that was the moment that set me on a trajectory that would lead me to where I am now and the ministry that we're involved with. So the origin of this program that we're talking about today started actually all the way back in 1990. So although we are resuming this course, the program itself began back then. And how it began is that Mrs. Romas, as I said, was one of the founders of the American Christian Trust, approached the Rothberg International School at Hebrew University in 1990. And she proposed an in-depth academic study course that would be accredited by Hebrew University in partnership with the American Christian Trust for Christian students who had a deeper desire to know the Bible better. And so we started this course. The inaugural program started in 1992 after 2 years of development with the Hebrew University. We ran this program every year from 1992 until 2011. And it was sort of put on hold for a number of years for a number of reasons. And in 2023, we felt that the time had come for this program to resume. So we reached back out to Hebrew University and we began exploring the possibility of starting this over again. And then, of course, we started that in the spring of 2023, and then, of course, the tragic events of October 7th unfolded, which kind of pushed everything back. But we kept working with the university all along, and we got approval from the provost to resume the program. And so, like as you said, we're resuming with a pilot program this summer, July 14th to the 31st. And we're very excited about resuming this and seeing where this takes us for a whole new generation.
That's amazing. So the coursework or this program is called A Chronology of the People and the Land of the Bible. So it is a beautiful title that expresses the sort of the learning objectives, and it does offer, as you were mentioning, the partnership with Hebrew University, actual college credit for undergrad or grads. So that means that a lot of young people are invited to engage and hopefully will engage, but it also means that it doesn't necessarily have to include just younger people, as there's a lot of older adults who are working towards graduate programs. So thinking back to the 90s, and you may not have been directly involved in the initial development of the project because you were much younger and maybe you were doing other activities, but do you recollect why this idea was even conceived? What was the deficit that was out there, either with what was already available at colleges or seminaries, or what the folks with the American Christian Trust noticed as a gap in people's biblical learning? Even the most sincere and well-intended people who were doing Bible studies, what was that gap, and then how did the program as it is formulated fill that gap?
Yeah. So it really was an issue, and I think it's been an issue for a long time, just for a lot of Christians who, their entry into understanding the Bible begins with the New Testament, and oftentimes it ends with the New Testament. Or if they have some sort of connection to what we say the Hebrew Scriptures, or as Christians call the Old Testament, they oftentimes it's very much on the surface. And so Mrs. Romas felt that was a need all the way back in the 1990s. And so the idea is to take people all the way back to the origin story. And that's why this program is unique, because it deals with the chronology. So it takes people all the way back to the Genesis of Israel, and really, which is the genesis of our faith as believers. But in order to get to that, to get all the way back to that origin story, you have to go all the way back to the beginning, and then take it through a complete chronology, so people have a grander scope of an understanding of God's unfolding plan. That it didn't begin with Jesus. It began long ago, obviously with the creation of the earth, but then really with God's call to Abraham and Sarah to leave the land of their origin and to come to a new place and to see that whole plan unfold. So that was something that was needed. There was definitely that deficit back in the 90s, and it filled a very important gap there for the people who have taken this course over the years. You mentioned for college students to come and take this course for credit, and again, our affiliation with Hebrew University is a very valuable asset here, and we're privileged to have this relationship with them. Hebrew University is ranked these days number 88 of the top 100 universities in the world. So having a transcript from Hebrew University is a valuable commodity, because it can be transferred easily to most universities in the world. But the other thing about this program is that just the average person, maybe there's many people who've taken this course through the years that don't actually even need college credit or even interested in college credit, but just the experience of digging deep into the Word and getting a foundational understanding of our faith that often, even pastors who go to seminary are lacking. And we've actually had the whole gamut. We've had lay people that have no biblical or formal biblical training in university, and we've had pastors who already have completed their PhD, who have taken this course together. And what's kind of special about it is each group, it's very small groups, 20 to 25 students at a time, and usually that group is a combination of lay people, university students, both graduate and undergraduate, as well as pastors and leaders who have already had a complete formal training. And we've had pastors come who, like I said, have already gone to seminary, finished their PhD, take this course at Hebrew University, and it revolutionizes their preaching and teaching in a way that they never thought, because when you go to seminary, you're looking through the lens of Christianity. So for a moment, we take away that lens. Again, this course is designed for Christian students, but the professors, the people that are teaching the classes, I would say about 70 to 80% are going to be Jewish professors from the Bible department at Hebrew University who are experts in their field, and they're presenting this biblical understanding from a Jewish perspective, which is very unique.
Well, that's what I wanted to have you elaborate on. As you mentioned, many of the folks that attend who may have had prior formal education in Bible or theology or whatnot are getting that education from either Canada or American universities, Christian universities, and seminaries. And those professors, as educated and wise as they may be, are exactly that. There's the American, European descended, mainline denomination descended professors. And that perspective does lack, I believe, in my opinion, a huge component of what it takes to really understand and have the Bible come alive. So when you couple, like you said, using 70 to 80% of the teachers in this course offered this summer with the fact that the students are actually on the ground, right? They're traveling to these places that they're not just studying in a book or looking at a map, but there's excursions, correct, to actually see these places and put everything into a reality that is such a valuable experience for anybody, whether they're a PhD or they're just really interested in learning more. Can you comment a little bit more on connecting those Jewish professors who are teaching from the Jewish lens, the original context in which the scriptures were written, and how it's being coupled with the itinerary that's on the coursework?
Yeah, for sure. So there's many unique things about this. I've already shared some of them, but one of the big pieces here is that from the moment that this program was designed all the way back in the 90s, and again, we're using that same template that we began with long ago because it's a program that worked very, very well. And so what we've done is we come to Hebrew University and we ask, first of all, it's important to understand that what's another unique thing about this course is that the main textbook is the Bible. So we're going directly from the text. And then we're coupling that by asking Hebrew University to identify for us who are the experts in each particular topic. So the course is going to go all the way, like I said, from the Genesis of Israel. It's going to go all the way through the time of the Torah, the time of Moses, the period of Joshua and the Judges. It'll go through the kingdom of Israel, and then the divided kingdom, and then it'll take us through the time of the prophets, and then to the New Testament, and then to the diaspora, and then all the way by ending with the foundational biblical ethics of the modern state of Israel. So we're connecting the dots all the way from the Genesis of Israel to Israel today. And how is that one continuous story? And the way we do this is that obviously, there are many experts in the Bible, but Mrs. Romas felt that there cannot be one person who's the expert in all of the Bible. There are certain people that have spent their entire career researching one particular book of the Bible, or a focus on a period of biblical history. So the Bible department at Hebrew University has professors that are experts and have done a lot of research in those fields. So what we say is when we come to the lecture on, for instance, let's say, the prophet Isaiah, who Hebrew University identifies for us some of the professors they consider to be the world-renowned authority, and they've spent a lot of time studying that particular topic. So we ask them to give that lecture. So typically we're not having any one professor give more than 1 or 2 lectures in the course. So over the course of the 18 days that this course takes place, you're going to hear from up to 16 different experts in their field, as well as archaeologists. So
Wow.
That's the lecture portion. Typically what will happen is lectures will take place in the morning in Jerusalem on campus at Hebrew University. And we'll do 1 or 2 lectures each morning, and then field study in the afternoon at the biblical sites. And when we come to the biblical sites, we'll come with a field study director who will be with the students all the way through the course. But the other unique piece is that when we come to certain sites, we are going to bring in the supervising archaeologist. So say we go to the city of David, or we go to the Temple Mount, or we go to Shiloh. We're going to bring in, of course, based on their availability, people that have oversaw that particular biblical site, and give us to sort of unpack from their perspective the things that they had, the findings that they have learned there from that site.
Well, that's an amazing learning structure, and I think it's probably very effective. And you have the track record from the first iteration of the offering of the course. As you mentioned, it's 18 days, and folks can earn college credit with a Hebrew University transcript, but folks can also just engage in the course if they're not worried about credit or have no need for the credit, and I believe they can get some sort of certificate of completion or just acknowledgement that they've had this experience. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So either way, everyone is experiencing the same exact course together, no matter what their goal is at the end. So we'll just give you the 3 different categories. So if someone wants to take this course for undergraduate credit, they will need to complete an written exam, and the way the exam is handled is actually very approachable for anybody, even if they haven't been in school for a long time, because we have, over the course of 18 days, we'll have 18 different lectures, hour-and-a-half lectures, and the way the exam is handled, there'll be 1 essay question for each lecture. And so if there's 18 lectures, after every 4 or 5 lectures, the students will be given the questions for those 4 or 5 lectures. And then what will happen is they'll have in the evenings, we will have what we call discussion sections. So we'll put people into small groups, everyone who's taking the course together, and everyone can share their notes about what they learned from the previous 6 lectures. And then when it comes time to write the exam questions, it's an open book exam. So not only do the students be able to take their own notes from the lectures, the previous 6 lectures, but they'll be able to share the notes of other people in their discussion section, which will help to enrich their ability to write the exam. And they can write it at their leisure over the course of the 18 days. So in other words, we don't give all 18 questions at the very end. We're giving them the questions as they go along. They have the ability to have the discussion sections as well as write the exam as the course is going through. So that's for undergraduate credit. For graduate credit, students that want to apply for graduate credit, they'll still do the exam, but in addition to that, they will have to write a research paper, an approved topic, and they'll have about a month after they return home to finish that research paper. For people that want to audit the course for just a certificate of completion, people that just want to have a love for the Bible, I would say that's probably in the past about half of the people who come to this. We will still ask them to do the exam just for their own personal benefit, but then at the end they'll receive a certificate of completion, and everybody have experienced the same course together, regardless of what their goal is academically.
So it is just an amazing learning model. It's almost ahead of its time because you have the lecture study, the field study, and then the collaborative learning opportunity in the evenings. Do you feel that introducing this course, reintroducing it and getting it sort of back into the educational marketplace, let's say, you mentioned that it was sort of in the inception of that reintroduction was prior to October 7th. But how do you feel the timing of that? How do you feel that this particular opportunity for Christians will help in just the aftermath and the healing and the analysis and the Hasbara, so to speak, that we as Christians who support Israel are dealing with in a post-October 7 world.
Yeah, it's so interesting because we did start this prior to October 7th, and as you remember, those were sort of really heady days before October 7th. We were celebrating Israel's 75th Independence Day. It seemed that there was a closer relationship between America and Israel than ever. There wasn't a lot of, at least on the surface, this anti-Israel sentiment that has arisen since October 7th. So it's so interesting that we kind of launched into this. We always knew, going back 10, 15 years ago, that this is something we were going to resume. But looking at the fact that we're resuming this now, to me and to everybody involved with this, even speaking with our colleagues in Israel and with the Israeli government, the need for this is so critical now, I feel like more than ever. Because what we're seeing, obviously, with this alarming rise in anti-Semitism, that it is showing itself in Christian circles. It's showing itself in churches. It's showing itself not just in secular universities, but in Christian universities. And the root of this problem, as I see it, is for Christians. And we're talking about Christians, because this is a course that's designed for Christians who love the Bible. But even people who know and love the Bible have been sort of deceived into this whole world of anti-Semitism, and I think the root of that is a misunderstanding of the foundational truths of the Bible in the first place. They, like we said at the beginning, they have that sort of surface understanding, but they're missing the whole context, the whole background. And we feel like, you know this, and probably most people listening to this know this, that just going to Israel in the first place and meeting Israelis, it changes your whole perception. Most people that are anti-Semitic typically don't have any Israeli friends or any Jewish friends, like actual real people that they know. All they see is this sort of stereotype of something that's a fabricated world that they live in. And so in this particular case, I mean, at the bottom line, we always encourage people, go to Israel. Go to Israel in whatever opportunity you have.
Exactly.
But this is a unique opportunity for people to really, really dig deep, not just to experience the land, but to really study. And for Christians that have already this baseline understanding, a desire to know the Word better, they come there, they have the experience, but the other layer to this that we've experienced in the past is the unique relationships that are forged between the Jewish professors and the Christian students. And the actual relationships take place that are long-term relationships, and having just the opportunity to talk about real life, not just biblical history, but real life with real people that live in the land, I think it changes people's whole perspective of what an Israeli is, what a Jewish person is, and sometimes it changes completely what people's viewpoint was in the first place.
Wow, that's excellent and that's beautiful. So what would you say in your estimation is the ultimate goal for the folks that complete this and return to North America, assuming that most of them or maybe you have some Europeans engaged, but they come back to North America, they get back to their regular lives. Some of them might be in full-time ministry, like you said, pastors and ministers. Some might be parents or grandparents. Some might be college students. What is the expectation or the desire for people to do with that information and that experience as they move forward down whatever path they may be on for the rest of their days?
Yeah. Well, it's going to give people, first of all, an opportunity to, from then that point forward, whenever they study the Word, whenever they read the Bible, whenever they go to church, they are going to look at the Bible from a completely different perspective. Even if they had this understanding before, there's going to be context, there's going to be texture, there's going to be color, there's going to be understanding of culture and time periods and different things that they never possibly understood before. So that's going to be helpful just in their own personal growth in the Lord. They're going to grow in a way, in a completely different trajectory than they would have otherwise. And then also the world of which their sphere of influence, the people that they're going to share with. If it's a pastor, they're going to preach in a way that from a perspective that they didn't even maybe have the ability to speak from before. For students, that when they come back and have conversations with other people, they're going to speak from an educated perspective. And we're not trying to coerce or twist people's arms or convince them of a new narrative. We're just going to simply open the Word and study it together in the context of history, and just deepen people's understanding, which will then allow them, whether it's their family or their friends or their church or their school or wherever they go, they're going to have a complete, and they're also going to be armed with the ability to talk in an educated manner that people will understand. They can explain things that maybe they wouldn't be able to explain before. So,
Yeah,
I think it's very valuable.
I think those outcomes are spot on, and that is exactly as you said it. Everybody in their sphere of influence will take that knowledge and use it as their lens and their framework for their conversations, their teachings, what have you. The other thing that you just mentioned that I think is really important is you said you're not introducing a new narrative, and I've seen some pastors and teachers think that, well, this is the way I understand Christianity, and this is the way I understand theology, and they feel like it might be undermined or corrupted but it's not a new narrative. It's the original narrative. It's the foundation of the story, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I love that you address that this is as if someone's reading a novel and we only read the last 3 chapters of the mystery novel, and nobody ever went back and read the first, 2/3 of it. And it's not a new book, and it's not a new narrative. It's the whole story. And I love that you addressed it that way. That's beautiful. So this program is just, to me, absolutely amazing. A chronology of the people and the land of the Bible, July 14th through 31st. I just want to share the contact information, and I will have it in the show notes as well. For more information, you can call 310-962-5762, or you can email act.biblicalstudies@gmail.com. Again, we will put that in the show notes, and you can learn more, get more documentation, ask questions. And I think this is just an amazing opportunity for anyone who is looking for college credit. How many credits is it? Is it 6?
So it's 6 units of graduate or undergraduate credit. And I would add also that we're very thrilled to be partnering with the U.S. branch of the International Christian Embassy Jerusalem.
Wonderful.
Susan Michael has been a dear friend of the American Christian Trust for many years. Mm-hmm. And over the last year or so, we've come into this partnership. And so we're excited to be partnering with them, as well as with Regent University. Dr. A.J. Nolte with the Israel Institute is going to be a part of this program, and we're looking forward to actually working with Christian universities throughout the United States to get this program in the years to come, because we see this program being offered every year from here on out, and perhaps multiple times a year to many different students. And our goal is, in the next couple of years, that we can get this program incorporated into the academic catalog of several many Christian universities in the United States, so then students can even easier transfer the credit, as well as perhaps apply for financial aid through their own institution.
And I have to say, as a parent who put a couple kids through college, it is the deal of the century as far as the number of days of travel, accommodation, meals, and the number of credits you can earn if you have college-age students in your life, or you are one, undergrad or graduate. Not only is it an amazing experience, but it's a good deal. So I encourage you all to reach out, email, call. Again, that information will be in the show notes. I'll splash it on the screen as well. It really is an amazing opportunity, and I am just going to personally be praying that it continues to grow, and having Israel studies departments in schools that are biblically based and Judeo-centric as far as looking at the Bible seriously and literally and from its original lens. I think that's a beautiful thing and is a huge need in American Christian universities, North American Christian universities. Mark, I am so glad that you can join us and share this opportunity with our network. And perhaps in the fall, we can have you back on and you can tell us how it went and what the outcome was and what people experienced. Maybe even share a few testimonials. That would be wonderful.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Mark, and you have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. If you enjoy these conversations, please visit us at www.thejerusalemconnection.us. Find all our podcasts on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast program. Follow us on social media, subscribe, like, and share our content to reach the broadest audience.